I want change within these platforms. All like the heads of these big companies like Snapchat, Instagram, they've been in front of Congress, they've had conversations, but there's no real change that happens, right? They're lying through their teeth. It's just nothing's happening. I think there's so many things that you could do, but I think that these big tech companies need to just take accountability and listen to people.
You hear that, Mr. Zuckerberg? What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Antony Gordon Show, powered by Lighthouse Edutainment. So every single episode of the Antony Gordon Show is pretty special, but I think today's episode really matters. Because if you're a teen, a parent, or literally anyone who's been online in the last decade, you know that social media can be brutal. And cyberbullying isn't some rare edge case, it's daily reality. According to the Pew Report in 2022, 46% of teens in the United States have experienced some form of cyberbullying or harassment. And according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention in the year 2021, they found that 1 in 6 high school students were electronically bullied in the past year. So let's define what we're talking about here. By cyberbullying, it really is a range of the following: repeated harassment, via DMs, comments, group chats, screenshots without people's consent, fake accounts, public humiliation that lives forever. The difference between offline bullying and cyberbullying is 24/7. What makes it so different is you're dealing with an enormous audience, an audience that can remain anonymous. In literally seconds, you can destroy a person's reputation. So today we're sitting down with Aerin Cohn for a conversation on cyberbullying, and she, of all people, is completely qualified to talk about the topic. She serves as the high school representative for the Organization for Social Media Safety. She's a junior currently at Brentwood School in Los Angeles who's passionate about mental health, awareness, and advocacy. She also happens to host the Control It, a podcast where she speaks to her fellow teens talking about taking back control in social media, and specifically talking about harassment and cyberbullying. So as you folks know, one of the things I've said repeatedly is what social media does is causes people to function like an automaton, puts your brain on auto. So if we're going to try and ignite those muscles, we need to stretch the brain. We're going to do a brain stretch for today, which goes as something like this. A one-story house is painted red, the roof's red, the windows are red. Here's the question: what color are the stairs? Drop your answer below, and this is a little flex to make sure that your brain has not atrophied. Those regular watchers and viewers of the Antony Gordon Show know our famous acronym MDS. We'll take a myth, which we're going to take today being cyberbullying. D is we're going to dispel it, and S, we're going to supersede the erroneous myth that was harbored with the truth. M is the notion that cyberbullying is just teen drama. D, the dispelling that there's nothing further from the truth. It's not drama, it's real damage, which affects 46% of teenagers in the United States. S, supersede. So cyberbullying isn't teen drama. It's really a public health issue. It's a design problem, and it's our responsibility. Erin is involved with a good friend, Ed Peisner, at the Organization for Social Media Safety. If you'd like to get involved with the organization, their information can be found at socialmediasafety.org or at org for social media safety, or on Instagram. Good people, be in touch. Erin, welcome to the Antony Gordon Show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Do you mind if I call you AC?
Go for it.
So AC and AG, we can take the show on the road.
We have a collab already.
I think the first thing we should do is define for our audience, what's the difference between someone just bantering you and when it sort of moves over into, well, 1 second, this is not normal.
I think it really depends the relationship that you have with a person, number one.
Yep.
But I also wouldn't say like one of my best friends should be trying to be funny, bantering me in my own comment section, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram or something. Yep. Especially if like we haven't had a conversation about that beforehand, because then there's other people who follow you who can see that, and then they'll obviously take it a different way. Mm-hmm. But I think bantering can definitely be taken to the extreme, and that obviously turns into cyberbullying. So I think that, there isn't that big of a difference in my opinion.
So I speak to a lot of people who, they use the word cyberbullying as a generic thing, but it's a lot of them, as I unpack it, it's sexual harassment, it's inappropriate, especially teenage girls.
Yes.
Tell me the difference.
So I think it's important that you say that, because I think when people hear the word cyberbullying, they think like, I think for girls, the first type of thing is like body shaming or coming for your appearance.
Yep.
Anything that I think wouldn't be okay with you and makes you feel small and, want to just shrink, I think that is cyberbullying. If someone is actively going out of their way to try to put you down.
So let's give the audience a context. Two things. Number one, in your particular case, when did you realize they crossed the line? And number two, what did you do?
I had, before I was private on TikTok, or even if I made up like a funny account with one of my friends, like a food review or some lighthearted, silly account, we would receive like random comments. Like my friend and I, we were on vacation together and we posted a funny video and someone was like, what's wrong with like your face?
This is the beginning of your...
Well, this was like kind of just a random thing. So my point is like, before the big thing happened, it was kind of like small things that I would overlook, because I think unfortunately, when you download social media, you have to know that there might be that cyberbullying piece and people being unkind, which that should not be the case, but it is. And if you want to be online, it's important to know, like, obviously to rise above that and just be aware of it. So I think, but the turning point for me was definitely in 9th grade when a TikTok was posted about me to an incredibly large audience, about like 200,000+ people.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
We had previously been friends. So I think that's when it became really real for me, because those little comments, I would say I'm pretty strong. I kind of just was like, whatever, it's not nice, but I'm better than that. I don't even know. Often it's like, I don't even know these people. It's strangers, and that's...
There's thousands of creeps in cyberspace.
But it's worse, I think, when it's someone that you know and maybe you thought that you were friends with, in my opinion. I guess it depends for people, but...
Tell me if I'm correct, AC. Not only is it a emotional duress, but it's a betrayal.
Right. And especially because, for me, it was so out of nowhere and I didn't even know what was happening. But I think, so when that was posted, it became real and I felt that it was like everywhere and I couldn't escape that. Although I was like at home and, the people who were like the perpetrators were just behind their screens. I definitely remember having a conversation like, honestly, what is wrong with you? But what did I do? But I also am careful when I say that phrase, because I think it puts you in a very vulnerable position, right? And then you're handing them that power immediately. So then they can be like, oh, they think that they did something wrong. Even if they didn't, now I have the upper hand. So you have to be very careful when you do that. And I knew that I hadn't done anything wrong. I was closer with this person at one point in my life, but later on, like around the time when the TikTok was posted, we were friends, but not as close. And regardless, like I knew I didn't do anything. So I know what you mean though by like, people saying, oh, are you mad at me or whatever. But since this situation has happened to me, I'm very careful when I say that.
So walk us through. You had, it's a huge audience, 200,000 people on TikTok. It was audio, it was visual, it was...
Yeah, it was a song that had, it was kind of like a rap song.
With very off-color lyrics in the background.
Right. And then the comment section was an extension of that. It was comments about me, my public username being put. So like if you were to click on it, it would take you to my account. So it wasn't even just public stuff. Like obviously that person's account was public and all of those comments so everyone could see it. But then as well, I received private messages. So it was almost like doubling down.
And what the research says, in the case of a teenage girl, a reputation which has any connotation of her compromising her morality is the worst raw nerve. And that's why paradoxically, the research shows it seems that that's what bullies, because they know it's going to get a reaction. I
mean, the reputation thing it's important because, adults will be like, just log off, just ignore it. But you can't log off your reputation. That's something that stays with you forever. Even if you come out on the other side, you're always going to remember what happened. People will remember what you did or how you acted, how you were during that time. And, that might be an old reputation, but it stays with you always.
Terrible.
So yeah, it's definitely really hard, especially as a young teen girl, it's like all anyone really cares about is like how other people think of you and how you're perceived.
Why do you think that so often the people that are privy to this unfortunate situation think there must be something wrong with Erin, that she's the victim, right?
Yeah.
And they start somehow, it's so counterintuitive that the person must have some right to emotionally undress this person in public?
Honestly, I think it comes from, well, one, like jealousy and insecurity. But I also know that, especially in this generation, because you have the ability to hide behind your screen and
stay anonymous.
Right. There's such a lack of accountability and responsibility. And no one wants to say, you know what, I shouldn't have done that. Or at the end of the day, I was really in the wrong and I'm just deflecting.
Yeah.
So I think I would say it's also a profound lack of maturity.
Yep.
Not being able to recognize when you're in the wrong and owning up to that. And then it's just so easy to blame other people and put other people down. You know, if someone's not feeling good about themselves, obviously they're going to go, unfortunately, but, you know, go project onto someone else.
When a person says, you're a frog, if you know who you are, obviously you can deflect it.
Right.
But when you're vulnerable and a person is susceptible to starting to believe, that's when you have the challenge. So I think one of your unique traits is that, you take the high road, which is amazing. And at the end of the day, people know, who's the person who's a wholesome human being that maintains, and who's an outright bully. The world knows that.
I know. I think it didn't do anything for me, especially when it happened to show them, I guess, that I was really hurting, because like we mentioned before, there's this idea of power. And when people know that they have the power, they can go do something worse or just, add fuel to the fire.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think in the way that I fought back was probably the most meaningful for me, is trying to make a change and, educate and speak about it. I know for me, when I was going through it and I was talking to people, I was very fortunate to have a very stable support system.
Yep.
And I know that I could not have gone through anything that I went through without them. So I would say, one, you're not alone and you're not invisible. I think that's the most important thing, because there are so many people dealing with it. And I think it's not realistic to be like, okay, get off or log off or whatever. Because like I said, it follows you, even if it's, rumors circulate, anything. So I would recommend trying to stay off, not saying like indefinitely, like don't ever go on it again.
Yep.
But I would say immediately block, if it's a cyberbullying situation, immediately block anyone who is hurting you and being unkind. And if it's not like support from your family, maybe confide in your friends. My friends were amazing. And again, I could not have gone through that without them. I'm incredibly grateful.
Those are true friends, not Facebook friends.
True friends who I've known for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think trying to do things different, like spend more time doing things that you enjoy. I think we're also consumed in our screens these days because, Gen Z, it's what we do. Everyone has phones. But like, if that means going on walks, I went on walks with my mom, or baking, picking up a new hobby, like trying to stay present. And honestly, I think also documenting everything down, right? You could journal, you can have conversations with people, talking and getting it off your chest. I think there's so many ways to go about it. And obviously nothing will alleviate that pain immediately, but there is light on the other side. And I was told that. And that is, I think I told you this on our call, that was so valuable to me, because when you eventually come out on the other side, which I truly believe everyone can and will, you see that. And it's that feeling, I don't know if it's like, not validation, but like, I did it.
One thing that I've heard from a lot of teenagers that are in the middle of going through this is that their parents don't believe them. Like, the parents think that come on, every teenager you've got hormones, so Johnny's telling you that snap out of it, which is terrible.
I don't think adults understand social media, period, but I definitely don't think that they understand the effects that it has on kids. And not only just kids. Like,
do you think the disparity between Gen Z, your generation?
A profound gap.
Huge. They don't get it, right?
Yes. I don't think that they get it. And I don't blame parents. It's hard. You guys didn't grow up with that. My mom's always like, what's that? Like, you didn't have phones growing up. So I understand. But I think that it's just important when someone tells you they're struggling. I think the first thing is that you believe them, right? That it's real. It might not be physical bullying. You're getting punched in the cafeteria. The stereotypical thing where it's physical or even in person. Online harm and bullying is just as important. It is real.
What would you tell parents now or educators, the kinds of struggles that Gen Z teenagers are dealing with that they have no clue about? You go mad. This is not
it's a hard question because I think there's a lot to it. First, I would say what I just said is it's real. So
number one, you're saying when they come to you and they say they're having suicidal ideations, believe them.
Well, I think it's this constant pressure. I'm going to talk about social media in this case, but that constant pressure of being and having to stay online, right? Going to see the next post. Your friend posted something, oh, go comment. Or this person posted something about you. Or this person posted for your birthday. Big, small, nice, unkind, whatever it is. There's that constant pressure, right? Also because this is where our friendships are made, broken, rumors are spread. It's where our social lives are. So that pressure, it's like to stay in the loop, to stay relevant, I think is... There's that.
The worst thing is for a Gen Z person to feel invisible.
Right. So, and I think it's important to constantly reiterate that message. Like, you're not alone. You're not invisible. There are so many kids dealing with, things big or small relating to social media.
Yeah. And
I think it's important to really understand that there are so many other people just like you and you're not alone. I could not say that enough.
Okay. So I'm going to press pause there to just think everything you're saying is like a little pearl of wisdom that parents should know. That when they see Johnny or Jennifer feeling down or articulating that they don't want to go to the family reunion because they're feeling freaked out, they're not being immature. Shouldn't belittle them. The parental generation doesn't understand their identity, their sense of self-worth. It's all being extrapolated from the experience online.
Right. And I think it's important for a parent to really, not like hover over their kids, but pay attention to things that they're telling you. If it seems extreme, you know what? Believe them. It's hard to hear, but it's like what we're dealing with. So if someone's telling you that they're feeling suicidal or that they are unhappy with X, Y, and Z, whatever it is, big, small, you have to take that really to heart and validate them and make sure that they know that you're there. Because if you kind of dismiss them once, they're never going to come to you again. It's hard to be vulnerable in this age, right? Because you feel like everything's everywhere. Like if you say one thing, even if it's your parent, whatever, it's this mindset that it's going to get out. I think the other, not issues, I think that's kind of a negative way to say it, but obviously struggles that Gen Z faces every day is, I think the comparison game is really difficult. So it can be in school, like academic, the college process is so competitive, in person, online, there's posting and all that stuff. But also then it gets more extreme to like eating habits and body image.
So you think it's more girls than boys?
I think the body, well, I know because I did research on this, but I think that anything like appearance wise and body is more girls, but it's definitely present in boys as well. Like with the muscle mass and the creatine and, working out, and there's that crazy stuff. But I think it's really, really tricky, especially for girls. And I've seen it in people and it's heartbreaking and it's really hard because when you're also around that, it puts you in a position. It's like, I want to be there for my friend, but I'm also this person's age. Like this needs to go to a parent, but then what if the parent doesn't believe them? Like we've been saying, or they aren't comfortable going to their parent. Like it's so hard. And then sometimes if you're around someone, let's say, who's not eating or whatever, then you feel a pressure to like, okay, well, they're going to get so skinny. Now I have to do that. So I think that's another thing. And like watching your kids' habits, like I was saying, like that's very important because you might be able to pick up on something before they tell you and can maybe prevent something horrible from happening.
Do you think that if Gen Z understands and knows that there are people in Silicon Valley right now and you're a puppet, and they are playing you, and they're playing you like a violin. Do you think that will make a difference?
No.
Take an example. There's a myth that there's such a thing as love at first sight. Let's talk about this, right? There's a reason why certain companies have a vested interest in saying that. It's not necessarily in your best interest.
I'm going to stop you because I'm going to tell you the attention span of kids, Gen Z kids, is so low because of what you're saying, because of these fast-paced videos, and you like a video, then you get another one. So you're going to keep watching, right? You're looped. I don't think that majority people will give the time
to actually
to
embrace
listen,
it.
to watch, and to learn. I think everyone deep down is aware that social media and this constant use and the screen time and all that stuff is a problem. It's just more about, does anyone care to help themselves and help other people? And I think more and more the answer is becoming yes, which is amazing. And hopefully like there will be a significant change to come in the future. But I don't think that at this point in time, those kids or whoever's on TikTok will.
Because they're completely automatons, they're hypnotized, and they FOMO'd out of...
It's like a separate world, like this online world, right? And it's so different, and you're losing all these social skills. And I think as you keep going, it's like, it's addictive, right? You take more of this one drug, you're going to get more addicted.
Totally addictive.
You go on TikTok more, you're going to get more addicted. Then you're looped into that, and you're completely cut off from everything else in your life.
So you're saying the logic's out the window. It's not...
You don't know, and that's the sad thing. It's that, right, like you said, like the validation, it's all online, and you're letting some random person tell you your worth. Like, that's why I think it's so important to, like, if you're going to be on these apps and these toxic environments, is having enough self-respect and like understanding and acknowledging your self-worth is really, really important because you can lose it so easily.
100%. I want to take the conversation back to what is the catalyst for us, meeting, and that was the cyberbullying. When you knew that this was the line had been crossed, tell us what you did, and what are you doing now to hopefully make sure that there are less AC victims out there?
First, I mean, I was very sick when this happened. So I had COVID. So I was already quarantined, right? I wasn't leaving my house. So that was worse.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So I was in my house, right? And obviously it's not like my friends could come over and see me. And I felt very alone, right? I didn't want to text people, and I didn't know what to do. And I remember the first thing, I called my parents in my room. I'm like, I need to leave. Like, I need to go to boarding school. Like, I can't.
Get out.
I need to leave. I was like, I can't do this. This social environment is so toxic. It's so hard. But then, we obviously had a long conversation, and that wasn't going to happen. So
good parents.
I got a sense of reality. Right. But it's interesting that the victim is always made to change their lifestyle, right? And like go and do something else. But then the perpetrator is behind their screen and going on with their life and whatever, right? They hurt you. Who's next?
Next victim, yeah.
So the first thing is like understanding like you're okay. It sucks and it is so hard, but you're going to be okay. And you have to remind yourself that every single day if you want to see yourself improve. Second, if you're really like you're feeling so down that you're thinking about, harming yourself in any way, I would say, one, the support group, find, the suicide prevention number, and you're not alone. So if it helps you to hear other people's stories, I know I did, and that was so helpful for me because then I saw like they did it, I can do it. You really just have to block it out. And I know that seems so hard in the moment for any kid, but it's a process. And if you keep doing that and reminding yourself, then I truly believe that like you can cross to the other side.
And telling the victims that the bully is emotionally handicapped.
Right.
Your mom's Australian, right?
Yes.
So there's a thing in Australia called the tall poppy syndrome. The tall poppy syndrome meaning when one of the poppies grows a little bit higher than the others, they want to chop the head off. Why? Because people don't wish good things for others because they're better than, and so that's what a bully does. I feel terrible. There's two ways I can feel good about myself. I can work on my self-esteem. I can discipline myself. I can do esteemable backs, or I can chop down the person next to me. Either way, I'm gonna.
That's what I was saying. Like often the people who feel the need to put you down, honestly feel bad for them. Right? Such sad people that they have to go on with their life making you feel worse about yours. Like, keep doing what you're doing. And by doing that, it is so powerful. I can't even begin to explain to you. If those people don't see you crumble, you're winning. You're good. Like, keep doing what you're doing. Those people are jealous, insecure. They might be going through their own thing and they don't know how to deal with it. They lack that maturity and they're going to deflect. It's the easiest thing for someone to do.
100%.
They're going to put you down. So I just know the most valuable thing for me was not, you don't have to like not cry if you feel like you have to cry in public, right? Be true and honest with yourself, but don't go like out of your way and not attend things and show them that you are still feeling defeated by them. Even
But
if
then
you
they
are.
win.
Even if you are, right? It's like not like putting on a fake face, but it's like I like to think of it as like putting on your strong suit or something like that, right? You know, you have this strong side to you because you're going through this and you're pushing through. You're so strong and brave. Like keep going with that.
Amazing. Let's talk about what you're doing right now, having gone through, you know, a very, very taxing experience. Tell us about the organization that you're on, that because Ed happened to be our first episode, who's amazing. You're doing terrific things.
So thank you. I appreciate that. So 2 years ago, I think, in May of 2024, I was asked to speak at a gala for the Organization for Social Media Safety.
So at that point in your life, 2 years ago?
That was 3 months after the TikTok was posted.
So you were still...
Right.
It was raw.
Right. But I'm very vocal. So for me, it's like I wanted to do something. I wasn't sure what. And it took me a second to figure it out. But I would say I had a relatively quick turnaround from, the event. Because it was so hard. So obviously you need that time to like pick those pieces up for yourself and pull yourself together.
Sure.
And it takes longer for some people. And obviously I wasn't like fully healed or whatever during that time, but I wanted to do something. So my aunt actually knows Mark and Ed. So my mom had been calling her and whatever. And then randomly she was like, oh, like they would love if Erin spoke at their gala, right? Because that's what they do. They share the stories and they make change and they're like,
let's give a plug. What's the full name of the organization? It's the
Organization for Social Media Safety. Phenomenal
organization.
Yes. So I remember I left school and I went to like the rehearsal. I was so nervous because I when am I ever really giving speeches to a large audience? But I met Ed and Mark and they were so kind and warm right away. And so I spoke and I was nervous, but it felt like the feeling after was so rewarding that I was so happy that I did it. And right away I had like parents come up to me like, what do I do if my,
Unbelievable.
So that was incredibly rewarding. And then eventually I got an email from Mark and we spoke, and then I was asked to be the teen advisory member on their board for directors. So I'm currently the only teen on there right now.
I'm there as well. We both teens in there.
But yeah, so I attend the board meetings and all of that stuff. And I love it. And I think it gives me such purpose. And I know that I'm doing such a good thing. And I'm obviously incredibly thankful for Mark and Ed whenever anyone asks me like why I'm doing this or how did I get into the podcast or speeches or whatever it is, I say them.
The most powerful thing in public speech is that if you are articulating something that's firsthand and you've been through it on the other side and the narrative is personal, it's going to have a huge impact. So if you can say to people, I know how you feel, I've been there, you're going to be okay.
To your point, like that's what I've been saying, like knowing and hearing other people's stories, like I said, that was so valuable to me. I knew that I wasn't alone, right? And if they're okay, maybe then I will be too.
Where do you want to be 10 years from now, making the biggest impact given what you've been through?
I mean, so many things, but I think I want change within these platforms. Obviously, all like the heads of these big companies like Snapchat, Instagram, they've been in front of Congress, they've had conversations, but there's no real change that happens, right? They're lying through their teeth. It's just nothing's happening. And I don't even know, obviously I'm 17, so I have time to think about it, but I want change to happen on these platforms. I want it safer for kids.
Safer for kids, okay.
Whether that means like there needs to be some sort of regulation. So if someone, I was just talking about this with my mom, like if someone were to comment something, right, and it wasn't nice, like I want TikTok to like filter that or something and send them a message like, is this nice? Like you need to think about this a second time. Because sometimes they have that if it's like, if you're saying like you're cursing at someone, like whatever, but it's not really like bullying. They're not filtering that. I think there's so many things that you could do, but I think that these big tech companies need to just take accountability and listen to people.
You hear that, Mr. Zuckerberg?
And listen to people. I think that, I don't know, it's so, at the end of the day, right, they're a company. They care about their profit and their revenue, whatever, about these kids' mental issues, right? That's not our concern. That's the
public
parents.
Company, bottom line, every quarter.
Like you said, Silicon Valley, they don't care. So there needs to be more accountability on that side.
Excellent
there needs
point.
to have things being done because,
excellent point.
People like us, we can talk about it. We can try to educate people. But at the end of the day, it's these companies who really have the power.
I'm going to ask you the last question before the curtain drops with a specific thing in mind. 10 years. Let's take it many more years from now. You're 92 years old. You're in a room. You're 92. You've just turned 92. The huge chocolate cake so we can put all the candles on. Family's there. Your significant other's there. And the boom mic goes around. What do you want people to be saying about you?
85 years. Hopefully a lot of good things.
Right. So my point being, is any of what really matters in terms of our legacy, is that really the kind of exchange on social media? The things that really count in terms of character, in terms of integrity, in terms of being a loyal friend, those are, at the end of the day, you're not going to see on Here Lies So-and-so on a tombstone who had 2.5 million followers.
I would say everything that you just said. I would want to be remembered to my core, who I was as a person, right? What I did for other people, what I did for my family and my friends, and how I carried myself.
Giving, not taking.
Yes, giving. Like how I carried myself. Was I kind every day, right? Like these positive things, I would want to be remembered for everything that you just said, but definitely what I did to help other people or what I did to help society, whatever it is. Knowing that I left and I'm ending my life with some sort of, impact.
Yeah. And
I don't know, I think just like, no, I'm going to say this again, but knowing that I really did make a change in some way, I think that would be what I'd want to be remembered for.
It's a beautiful way to end because the whole of social media is about causing these kids to focus on themselves and what people are thinking and saying. And at the end of the day, true happiness, as opposed to these moments of fun, are about giving, about being selfless, or about the kinds of things that unfortunately social media is not placing a premium on. If there were a lot more ACs in the world, I don't think we would be having this mental health tsunami that we are. People should check you out on Control It, your podcast.
Yes, on Spotify. CTRLIT.
Thank you for being on the Antony Gordon Show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Continued success. You're amazing. Okay, folks, the answer to our brain stretch today: one-story house, red roof, red windows. What color are the stairs? Completely trick question because there cannot be any stairs in a one-story house. The exercise is to help us understand, listen, slow down, be careful before you just gobble a whole phrase together from social media. Everything counts. So before we wrap, I want to land this somewhere real. Cyberbullying is not just something that happens online. It's something that stays with people well after the power is off. Screens turn off, but words don't. When we dismiss our teenagers, we don't make it smaller. We make it quieter. And quiet is where harm grows. Today's conversation made the following clear. This isn't about fragility. It isn't about drama. It's about being aware, intentional, and human in digital spaces that were not designed with mental health in mind. Erin's story matters because it reminds us that pain doesn't have to end in isolation. It can lead to clarity, boundaries, and real change when someone listens and when someone speaks up. So if you're a teen listening, you're not weak for being affected and you're not alone. If you're a parent or an educator listening, take what you heard seriously. Curiosity beats control every time. And if you're online, like all of us, slow down before you comment, share, or pile on. There's a real person on the other side of the screen. Erin, thank you for your honesty, your courage, and for turning experiences into impact. This is the Antony Gordon Show. Stay real, stay rare, stay away.